Down to Art. Conversations about the creative process.
With your host, Christy Gordon.
As many of you know, my new book, Become a Great Artist, is now available for pre-order. And right now, when you pre-order a copy of the book, you'll also get free access to my new online course on color and composition in art, which is regularly valued at $160. So click the link in the description and pre-order a copy of the book now and get free access to the course. And today we'll be talking with Barbara Sharp, a recent graduate of the Visionary Artist Master Program and recipient of the Elizabeth Morse Genius Foundation Award for works on paper from the National Association of Women Artists. So welcome, Barbara. It's so good to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Christy.
Oh, it's so good to talk to you today. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, both as an artist and as a doctor?
Oh, sure. Well, I always loved art, but when I went to college, I was aware of women's status in the world, and I really wanted to find something where I could be assured of finding my place in a man's world, so to speak. And I was a Chinese studies major because I lived in Taiwan and loved Chinese language and culture and painting. But then I didn't think those careers in Chinese studies were appropriate for me. And I really liked helping people one-on-one. So I went into medicine. And, when you're studying to be a doctor, I'm very aware of it with my kids growing up because they have so much time to make friends and be social and all that. But when you're in medical school, you're studying a lot. So I wasn't able to continue my artwork, but I do feel like I was creative in my practice in a way of finding ways to protect my patients from nefarious options that were extended to them.
Wow.
And, I ran a breast center and all that. And finally, after 28 years, we decided to retire somewhat early and follow our other loves. And for me, it was art. So we had always gone to museums, and we have an art collection at home that we collect pop art, but then we've branched out into some other artists because it's important to support women artists as well. So many, like Lee Banky did paintings from skyscraper in New York that we love. Actually, it was the Twin Towers. So we have a painting of the view from the top of the Twin Towers. And Cindy Sherman, we have one of her pieces. And so it's important to support women artists. And but mostly around that time, the pop artists were mostly men. So I started taking art classes at ateliers to get the basics. And I did take a class of advanced painting because my teacher was teaching at a local university in Florida, but she used so many words, and I realized I really needed to go back to the beginning. And so I spent many months in New York living in my son's slum apartment at the Grand Central Atelier. And also, then also I went and did a year in San Francisco after studying at Sadie Valeri's atelier. But I took a year at the San Francisco Art Institute, which was a little odd because it's so conceptual, and I wasn't in really that genre at that point. But I was able to locate certain teachers, which were very instrumental in figuring out where I was, where my needs were. And I had a great year there. But when that closed and then COVID arrived, it was I had a year to wait before I attended the New York Academy of Art. So I took Zoom classes, as many as I could. I took classes by someone you might know called Christy Gordon.
Aw, thank you.
Was the ears, the eyes, and that was great. And I saved those. They're some of my little favorite ones.
Aw.
Also, Forster, John Forster, and
Oh yeah.
they all became my tutor on Zoom. Every 2 weeks or so, we'd have a half an hour and he'd draw over them. And I painted 4 paintings with him that ended up being in a museum. It was right after George Floyd's death, and it was a Black Lives Matter series. So that was kind of thrilling. Of course, I capitalized on that and invited all my friends and relatives.
Oh, definitely. I would too. That's amazing. What museum was that at?
Just a Museum of Contemporary Art in Marin County.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Wow.
And then I started at the academy, and being a doctor, anatomy was very superfluous, but I did have fun chiming in every now and then and explaining things and
Mhm.
deviations from the norm and what that would look like. Because in radiology, you see all sorts of odd deviations, and quite a lot of history can be woven into that. Yeah, the drawing classes were great, but I had volunteered in Africa, in Tanzania, and so that was so fresh on my mind, and I was so inspired by the people there, because I was a radiologist there. And the people I worked with were so great. And there were like 10 ways to say good morning, good afternoon.
Hmm.
And, they care a lot about other people in their conversation. And so it was very supportive. And so when I came back for my thesis year, that was really in the forefront of my mind. Although I have to say there was some obstruction in terms of the concept of appropriation. But being who I am and not too worried about where I'm going or what was happening, I just plowed ahead because I wanted to. And I did get all mixed responses. And even people at the Art Students League said, that's not appropriation, that was your experience. So, there's all different views, but a lot of those things were works on paper. And so I hadn't really explored enough of oil painting, which brings me to when I graduated. I felt like we hadn't been going back to Africa. We're waiting for a certain thing to be built in the hospital. And so I was looking for a new theme, but I felt not a whole lot of confidence moving forward. And I was kind of splashing around using things that I hadn't tried before, like in terms of things like cold wax, chalk,
Yeah.
and sculpt modeling gel and sculpting gel, and those things that I really wanted to try out. So I did those while I was taking your course, Christy. But there was so much confidence building and so much
Mhm.
discussion, and seeing where other people were in their art was amazing because I was really impressed by the other students. And so basically, the class, through all its discussions and coaching in terms of making sketches, well, like spontaneous things, don't think, just do it.
Yep.
And then writing down things in your memory that sometimes creep in that you'd rather not remember,
Mhm.
critiques and things. And you could just write down your response to whoever that said that as if you could have said it at the time, which
I love that one. Did you have anything like that? You don't have to say specifics, but did you have anything like that where it
yeah,
could become a block if we don't address some of these things? And so
yeah.
I found it really helpful to write it out. And I especially like the part where we kind of talk back to like write what we didn't say at the time, sort of stand up for ourselves. But for me, I found that really helpful. Yeah, did you have any
Well,
specific experiences like that?
right now, that was so successful that used to creep into my mind so much, and I haven't thought about those
Amazing.
now. So at the
Wow.
there, it would draw a blank. So that was very
Wow.
helpful.
That is amazing. And it's so wonderful to hear about your whole experience. You've got so many different life experiences and how you're able to like pull all of that into your art
Mhm.
and kind of combine it all. And good for you for Well, I mean, the New York Academy of Art is so amazing at helping us know everything that we need to know and know like how, what's going on in the art world and how to kind of figure out where our work fits in, which is one of the important things that we talk about in the Visionary Artist Master Program too. And then once we have that information, it's so great to be able to like make an informed decision about that. And I'm so proud of you for being able to know that, well, this is what I'm drawn to. Now I understand all the things at play. And
And then
yeah.
also very helpful is finding art that we admire and then try to figure out why we like them so much, and artists that we admire and why. And that pointed me in the direction of the color blue.
Yes.
Yeah, and I
You
like cerulean blue.
Oh, cerulean blue. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking recently and you had mentioned that yeah, after graduating from the Visionary Artist Master Program, you've gotten a better sense of like the colors that you're drawn to, and that one of them, as you say, is blue. And it's been so beautiful seeing how you're able to bring that into your work. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you came to this awareness and how it's influencing your work?
Well, I love nature, and I was cross country skiing in a valley in Colorado. I was by myself because my husband had COVID. And so could go peacefully at my own pace. And the sun was coming over the hill, and the snow in the shade was bluish. And right in front of me was this willow bush or small tree with every twig covered in ice crystals, reflecting the sun, because the sun hit that, but not the hill behind it. And so I crouched down and took a picture, and I decided I would work on it in my studio, and it looked pretty good. And one day I just said with my studio mate, Andy here, I said, I think I'm going to make this into a large painting. And so that was fun. And Andy couldn't believe it because I'd been kind of self-deprecating up until then.
Mm.
And
Oh.
he said, okay, that does it. I'm going with you, and I'm going to make sure that you get that large canvas.
Aw. Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't really know that the scale was a breakthrough for you. And actually, since completing this one, which looks so gorgeous, you've just started another one that's really large too. What size are they? They're about
4 by 5 feet.
whoa.
This is right behind me. So the little one is right next to it, the one that kind of gave me confidence to move forward.
Oh,
When I realized I love blue, then that was the clincher.
I love that. And you were able to bring in your experimentation with some of the materials that you'd been interested in.
Yeah,
What's in there? There's some,
cold wax and
yeah.
crystal white paint. I have such a
Yeah.
advantage of being here near Soho Arts and Blix, where you can go ask questions. And Soho Art Walter there.
Uh-huh. I know him too. He's
Yeah,
amazing. That art store is amazing.
so that was cool because that's very white and
Oh,
actual glass crystals in it.
it's
So
amazing because when you see the painting in real life, it sort of replicates like ice. Like the painting that you've created is for people who are just listening to the audio,
Mhm.
all these branches with ice crystals as you described, but the ice crystals made with this, glass, like white that has glass in it, it just really like reflects the light and kind
Yeah,
of mimics that.
able to experiment with glazes.
Yes.
And there are people coming in and out, and one of them is a landscape painter, Laurel from my class, Laurel Bach, and she also does portraits, but she pointed out that the pine tree should be blue because things in the distance
Mm.
are bluer. It's true. And I've read landscape books since then that also say that.
It's so valuable to have like these kind of insights from other artists too. Actually, I like really love to do that in my own work, and I know we talk about it in the Visionary Artist Master Program. Yeah, getting outside input and
Yeah.
um,
And on
having
the
trusted friends.
yes, and on the Vamp recordings, I think you showed how the background on the smaller painting was more abstract than I had been putting together in the larger one. And so when I painted over it and made it clumps of trees rather than individual, I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, I think that's really effective. Yeah, that can be one thing that's hard about scaling up. Like sometimes when we do a little study and then we do a bigger one, it's like hard to sort of get that same like visual impact sometimes that's in the little one. So you did such a good job of translating that and making the certain decisions. There's obviously more detail in the larger one, but it still has that abstract pattern.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've now chosen a painting with some um, a feeling of nature again, with more green. But I'm choosing to put in some blues in the plants because it makes it more fun for me to paint blue.
Yes, I love that decision. I love blue too, actually. And yeah, it's so great to see you like having this awareness about your preference in colors. And so, in the Visionary Artist Master Program, and also in my new book, Become a Great Artist, we cover a 5-step framework to find our artistic voice and launch a successful art career. And so, that includes daily brain drain writing, brainstorming with thumbnails, intuitive paintings, which are a super important part of the program, this practice of working for 25 minutes a day, and also daily readings to understand how our art fits into the artistic world around us. And so, of these different tools, is there a tool or a practice that you found especially helpful?
Gosh, well, the critiques were really helpful.
Aww.
And yeah, I think finding out what you like in other people's work was
Yeah.
really good direction for me to take on, and
Yeah.
just plowing forward and working hard and not being
Mm.
afraid to make mistakes. That's what I learned in the course.
Ooh, those are probably my favorite things too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to start with that one for anyone listening. We start with a assignment where we actually analyze 10 pieces of other people's works to that are our favorite paintings or pieces of artwork to understand what we like in art, and it helps us get a better understanding of like what the components of our own creative voice might be. It's very powerful. I like to do it about once a year for my own work, actually. So I'm so glad you enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, what are your artistic goals right now?
I would like to get a whole um, kind of series of paintings that I could maybe show to a gallery. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is my second large one, and I'll come up with an idea of a third one, and it'll just go from there. And I hope to
Totally.
every few months.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great goal, and you're like well on the way to that. The pieces you're doing are cohesive and like beautiful. Yeah, I'm excited to see that how it develops.
Thank you.
Yeah. And where can listeners learn more about your work if they want to
Oh,
see some of your work?
well, I have a website called blsharpart.com. B as in Barbara, L as in Lee, Sharp, SHARP. And I'll be adding more to that as you know tonight. Actually, I already planned that. And I have an Instagram account, but one thing I've learned from you, Christy, is how to develop your Instagram. And so I've engaged a really facile young person with a very good brain according to with as far as Instagram goes. So she's
Ooh.
on August 8th, and I have a whole list of things I want to do, but right now it's Dr. Babs, BABBS, two B's at the end.
I'll definitely include a link to those in the description. And if you end up creating a new Instagram, I'll update the description whenever that happens. I'm not
Okay.
sure if you'll be changing the name or not, but oh, that's wonderful. It's so good to talk to you, Barbara. Thank you so much for joining us. And it
Thank
was,
you. And thanks for all your help and inspiration, and
aw,
such a supportive person while giving valuable ideas.
aw, thank you.
I'll see you at Forma Gallery tonight.
Yes, I'm so excited to see you there, and I'm so excited for the show, and so excited to see how your body of work develops.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's so wonderful. Well, I look forward to seeing you soon tonight, actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
yeah, talk to you soon. Bye,
Bye.
Barbara. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Down to Art. Don't forget to pre-order a copy of my book, Become a Great Artist, now and get free access to the course on color and composition and art. Thank you so much for being with us.